Hi, I'm Ken Okel. Welcome to this virtual presentation, which is all about being a virtual master of ceremonies. My name is Ken Okel. As a professional speaker, sometimes when I speak at events, I'm also asked to be the master of ceremonies, to be the person who's there through the entire event. You're introducing elements. You're serving as kind of the connective tissue for the entire event. More and more, I've been doing this function virtually. It's a little different, but I think it's something that's easily achievable for most people. It's just a matter of preparation. I'm going to go with some best practices today. We're going to talk about them, break them down, and at the end of this talk, you're going to have an opportunity to get a little cheat sheet that I've put together with some of the key points. It's just a one-pager. This way you can have something in your hand. You can review it when it comes time for your meeting. So if you're going to be the virtual MC, you'll know what to do. If you're hiring somebody, might know a guy, you will be able to kind of oversee that process and make sure that they're a good fit for what you want to do. Let's get started. First thing I suggest to people, when you're serving as a virtual master of ceremonies, do your homework. Really understand the event. Very often, when I'm speaking to an organization, when I'm serving as an MC for them, I don't know much about their industry or their organization. I take the time to really research them and get to know them. I may talk to the organizers, find out, okay, why are you having this meeting? How have things been going in your organization? What's the goal of the meeting? And what's the mood of the employees, the audience that I'll be talking to? It's important to understand if the meeting is pure celebration, great. But there's a chance that maybe this is a rally the troops type of meeting. Maybe there have been some challenges and people are feeling a little nervous in the audience. If I can understand these things, I won't appear tone deaf. It'll almost seem like I'm one of them, that I'm one of their coworkers they just have never met before. You want to make sure that there's a certain level of comfort. Also, it's good to do your homework to make sure you're pronouncing the names of everything correctly. You wouldn't want to work with a company and say the name wrong. Also, the people that you're going to be introducing, make sure that you say their names correctly. That will really hurt your credibility if you introduce somebody and you call them the wrong name. Mistakes will happen sometimes, but the more that you can prepare, the smoother things will go. In terms of your role, you're going to have a tremendous presence throughout the entire event because you're pretty much there the entire time. You're introducing things, you're reminding people of things, you're that constant. However, you're not the star of the event. You are more of a supporting player. To explain this a little bit better, I want to take you into the world of movies, particularly a romantic comedy starring actress Sandra Bullock. She's made a whole bunch of them. She's known as America's sweetheart. In these romantic comedies, there is usually a co-star who plays Sandra Bullock's best friend. That best friend is the equivalent of a virtual MC. Let me explain. In the movie, the best friend's job, tell a few good jokes, help move the plot along, and don't overshadow Sandra Bullock, because Sandra Bullock is the star of the show. Same thing applies as a virtual MC. You have a large presence at the event, but it's not all about you. It's about making sure that the organization, the company that hired you, looks good. It's kind of like the duck who is swimming furiously on the surface, looks really smooth. Below, you're working very hard. The audience only sees the top part. That's the way it should operate. Make sure, though, you're always giving that spotlight to the organization. You are there to support them, make them look good. Very often, as a virtual MC, you may be interviewing people, you may be leading panels. Great. But I want to make sure that you understand your role in these, because sometimes it's very easy to think that you're there to quiz people. You've read up, you understand what the people do, so you're giving them all these questions. If they don't know what questions are coming, they may not be the right questions to ask, or you may stump someone and they may feel embarrassed. You do not want to do any of these things. So don't think of a panel or an interview like a quiz. Instead, I want you to think of it like a dance where people are working together in harmony to create something beautiful. So how do you do this for a panel? I think it's very important ahead of time. If you're interviewing someone or if there's a panel, find out what is the key information that you want to get across to the audience. What are the takeaways that you want them to have? Then you can customize your questions around that. So you're really setting up the presenters to say the things that they want to get across. I'm not saying that beforehand you give them a list of questions. I'm reluctant to do that because I don't want people memorizing answers and just having a monologue. I still like it to be a conversation, but I would want to have questions that are really designed to pull forth the best answers from the people. And I know the points they want to get across. So if I need to ask the question a second time to maybe pull information out of them just a little better, I'll be able to do that. But I'm not surprising or shocking someone on stage. It's all a very comfortable process. Remember, a dance, not a quiz. For the entire event, you are serving as the guide. I think it's good to make sure that you tell people what is ahead. So if it's a day-long event, make sure at the beginning you're giving people an idea of what's going to be happening. We're going to have a couple presentations early on, then we're going to have a 20-minute break where you're able to run to the bathroom, get a drink, do whatever. Then we're going to come back together, have another session, then we'll have a lunch break. See what we're doing here? We're letting people know the framework of the event. Also, let them know kind of content-wise what's coming up. This makes sure that they stay engaged, that they're tuned into it. You want to make sure that people understand the framework of the event. They know what's coming. It's comfortable for them. There's not a lot of uncertainty. When you're in the room, it's easier to kind of look at a program or know what's coming up next. Virtually, you don't know. You're just staring at a screen. Make sure that people have a good idea about the road ahead. It adds to their comfort, and it just makes it seem like you're in control. You know what's going on. You're in good shape. It's important as well to remember your audience. These are the people that you may or may not be able to see. You want to make sure that you're engaging them. I'd love to do little quizzes with them. Now, this is where you can do quizzes, little one-question quizzes about something funny. Maybe you have a contest where you say, okay, everyone, in your household, what is the coolest coffee mug that you have during the break? Grab it. When we come back, we're all going to hold them up, and then we're going to judge who has the best one. With these contests, you can actually send people virtual gift cards so they can be engaged in that way. I also think it's good as an MC, refer to people by their name. If you see them joining the meeting, you can say, hey, thank you, Greg, Sally, Tamara, thank you so much for coming to the meeting today. If it's more of a national conference, you can even ask people how the weather is in their region, have them put in the chat box or even bring them on the live stream. Get them involved in the talk and really put these little energizing interactions throughout the meeting, wherever it is appropriate, so that people aren't just watching, but they're interacting with you. Sometimes while presentations are happening, I might be doing more things in the chat or the question and answer area, helping people there, putting in other resources for the speakers. You want to make sure that it's an interactive experience. And hey, we got balloons here. You want to make sure it's fun. Have those moments where people can maybe be a little goofy, can enjoy themselves some. You can even have a coordinated stretch break. Make sure that this is not like going to the DMV to renew your driver's license. Not that that's a horrible experience, but maybe it's not one that people look forward to that much. For some, it's not as fun to be sitting in front of a computer screen as it is to be in a big resort ballroom with a bunch of your colleagues. Make sure that you keep that in mind, that you plan ahead. What are some moments where we can have some fun, where we can interact, where we can feel like we are connected as an organization and a work family, even though we're all talking to one another virtually? All these little steps can make a big difference. Need that little refresher? or perhaps something that you could hand out to people as they're planning their meeting. Get the guide. What I am going to do right now is I'm copying and pasting the download link for the guide into the chat box. I also, for those of you who are watching this replay later on YouTube, I'll put that in the show notes on YouTube. And some may be catching this on my website. For those people as well, I will put the URL. I like to have little cheat sheets that help me remember things. I think I started doing this when I was in school. I like to boil everything down to a few key points that I could refer to later on. Want to find out more about me? My name is Ken Okel. Go to my website. That's a good place to learn about me. Just like my name, kenokel.com. You can find out more about me, see some clips of my speaking presentations, and maybe you might like to hire me as a virtual MC. Know a thing or two about that. Email me at tvguy@kenokel.com. And of course, I always welcome people who want to connect with me on LinkedIn. I hope these have been some useful tips for you. Make sure if you're a virtual master of ceremonies, you're feeling good, you're in control, and you're making your event a memorable one. I'm Ken Okel. Take care.